The Clipboard tool itself walks you through the process of assigning supplemental activities to individuals or groups. Within the tool, you can add an activity in one of the following ways. So if I have selected activities from this tab, if I go to number 1 underneath Add an Activity, I have the option of uploading a file, adding a YouTube link, selecting something I've already created in my Google Drive, adding a website link, or creating a rich text activity, which uses the rich text editor where you can customize and create an activity right here within the tool itself. I can also search the library for content in other courses that I've already created, or for items that I may have stored in my teacher digital filing cabinet or my teacher resources course. Once you've selected the type of activity you want to create, so in this case, I've chosen to add a rich text activity. And I'll select OK. Then I have the option to determine whether or not this activity is gradable. Then you would click Next. After that, you need to determine where you want this activity to display for students. So some teachers will create a My Activities folder and have communicated with students that they need to check within that folder, and other teachers will be sure to include that activity right within the unit in which it makes the most sense. So that is going to be determined by you, and then you decide whether or not you want to set a due date. If you check the Set Due Date box, you will then select the due date. Then you have some other options as you've selected that the activity is gradable. So here you would determine the submission type, the weight and category, how you want the score entry to appear, grading category, and then you have some other options. You can count it as extra credit, you can hide the scores until a certain date, you can determine that you want the score to be dropped from the calculated course score, you can include this activity score in the final grade calculation, require a passing score for course credit, or treat as a 0 in the gradebook. The big thing to remember is when you're making these activities gradable is that this will have an impact on the students in your selected group on their gradebook overall. When you look at the students' gradebook data in Genius, it will not show those individualized activities, but you will see that the number of total graded assignments will reflect those individual activities. So an awareness about these types of changes is important when you're doing this type of work. Once you've determined these specific grading criteria, you'll hit Next, and then you'll click Assign to assign the activity. From the student's perspective, I can now see that personalized activity shows up in the to-do list. Within the specific course, the student also is able to see it on the to-do list, as well as directly within the folder where you selected to have that activity appear. So you can see here, test.